It is the first episode of the week, so let's review the newest episode of The Mandalorian. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
So, I don't know about you guys, but I had a busy weekend. Busy weekend. You can kind of tell. I'm having voice issues, but it was fun. I went up to LA for a friend's birthday. It was interesting going out there. I'm not a big LA guy. I have issues going up to LA, but it was fun. Less traffic, meeting up with friends, and there's not much to do, so everything was locked down. It's weird. Honestly, it's way better down here in San Diego, but, you know, what can you do? Anyway, let me get into this because I think it's going to be a long one. But as always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. Also, I'm aiming to live stream most days of the week. I aim for Monday through Friday, but looks like I'm doubling Mondays now, so it's kind of hard. So Tuesday through Thursday through Friday. Tuesday through Friday. We'll see how that goes. You can find, or if you can... If you want to join me, you can find me on YouTube and on Twitch at Super Dario World. And if not, I'll load the video of all this, and all this will be on YouTube at Super Dario World. And I recommend it because when I do my reviews, I do a summary, and people tell me it's way easier when I put images up there. So who knew? Images make things easier for people. Who'd have thunk? Anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into, what is it, Chapter 12, Episode 4 of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. So this chapter is called The Siege. And honestly, it was kind of a crappy episode. A lot of important story stuff happened, but it was kind of... I had issues with it. Let's just say it wasn't as professionally made as I would have liked. Visually, it looked great. It was just, I'll get into it. I had issues. I have a lot of issues. I have a lot of issues with the episode. Personally, it's a different story. But let's get into it. So first off, we had a whole bunch of characters return. So not necessarily new characters, more of returning characters. First off, we have Cara Dune. Oops, I guess I put her name on the wrong spot. Let me just move this here so it's easier for you guys to see. There you go. Sorry, now I'm blocking her face. Damn it. This is very professional, you guys. Anyway, so now it's blocked by another thing. Damn it. There you go. So Cara Dune, you guys might remember her. She was an elite fighter for the rebellion back, in the war against the Empire, the war of the rebellion. Since then, she kind of started going her own thing, doing her own thing, trying to go find a peaceful place where she can spend the rest of her days. Then Mando recruited her to help him out in getting the child back, and so she ended up staying in the planet of Navarro as to help clean it up. So that's who she is. Next, we have Greef Karga. He used to be... I believe he was the head of the Bounty Hunters Guild in Navarro. So basically the guy who got the jobs and handed them out and stuff like that. And so now he also teamed up with Mando, and they're trying to clear the Empire from Navarro. And now he basically stayed there to try to fix it up. Next we have Dr. Pershing, who we haven't seen, I think, since season 1. Maybe on the very first episodes, maybe 3. I don't know. But we haven't seen him in a while. This guy is a scientist. He wanted to experiment with Baby Yoda, and he's also the reason why Baby Yoda is still alive, because they kind of wanted the Empire kind of wanted to kill him immediately, and he's the dude that convinced the Empire to keep him alive. So there you go. We're not sure if he's good or bad yet. Next we have Mithril. You might remember him again from season 1. Again, I messed this one up. So you might remember him from season 1. He's the first dude who Mando captures. The first bounty that we see Mando collect. Since then, he hasn't really been relevant. I believe since the intro of the first episode, he hasn't really been relevant. And last but not least, we have Carson Teva. Now, this is a pilot from the New Republic pilot that we met on episode 2. He's the dude who kind of shot Mando down and then afterwards saved him from the giant spider creature. So before, I didn't introduce him because I didn't think we were going to see him again, but holy shit, we're seeing him again. So there you go. Now he officially gets an introduction. And those are the new characters, or the characters that you should remember. Let's move on to the summary. So let me just do a quick switch out here. Just give me a sec. Boom. All right. So the episode begins exactly where we left our heroes off. They're traveling off in space, except that the Racer Crest is having a few mechanical issues. Now, in order to help fix the mechanical issues, Mando basically puts Baby Yoda to help, and let's just say Baby Yoda, not an electrician, and things get messed up. And in a scene that it was humorous. The problem with this episode is that it tries very hard to be funny too much. I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't in the mood. Maybe I'm the problem here. But let's just say it felt like it dragged on very much. Comedy, I feel like it should be a little bit faster for certain things, but whatever. Let's just say Baby Yoda, not a good electrician, and so they decide, let's just stop in Navarro, which is in the way of the planet. We wanted to go to another planet to find the Jedi Ahsoka Tano, but let's just stop in Navarro to get some repairs. And so they head on to that. Well, they head in that direction, and then we see, the next scene we see Navarro, and if you guys can see here, this is the logo of the Mandalorian, and so it's basically the base. You remember where the base was in Navarro, where all the Mandalorians were? Well, apparently the base and the furnace where the armor was has been taken over by a bunch of alien dudes who clearly, or at least appear to be criminals. I mean, they appear to be doing shady stuff. Anyway, so they've taken over the Mandalorian base, and while they're doing some shenanigans, they hear some noise out there, and so everybody gets on high alert, and one of them goes out to investigate. And this is kind of important, but you count 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 of these dudes there, correct? Are you with me? All right. So these 4 dudes, they hear a noise. One goes out to investigate, and he gets attacked immediately by Cara Dune, who they call the Marshal. So apparently Cara Dune is now a Marshal. And the thing that follows is one of the worst fighting choreographies I've seen yet. Now, this show has some pretty bad fighting choreography. This is among the top of the worst ones. So let me just show you really quickly. So you see Cara kind of struggling with one dude, and she's in the middle of shooting the other guys who are inside, which is fine. Kind of the dude using the dude as a shield, whatever. Then, oh, there you go. They're yelling at she's the Marshal, and you can see 3 dudes aiming at her, right? 3 dudes with guns, and they all kind of have cover, which is smart. If you're going to be in a gunfight, you want cover. Anyway, so one of the dudes decides, the dude in the red shirt, this is important, he decides to go for cover. Next, Cara Dune, basically in the middle of a fight, she throws a knife at one of them. Then she hops on the guy she was struggling with, rolls on the ground, and gets up and hits the other 2 dudes. Now, in the whole time she was rolling on the ground, why didn't shoot her? Well, one dude had a knife on her chest. The other dude decided to duck for cover, and for some reason, and then the other guy was just standing there like, should we shoot her? No, it made no sense. Anyway, so the fighting continues, and then finally somebody decides, let's pull a gun on her, and Cara rolls on the ground to the guy that she'd previously rolled with. So I need you to see his positioning. This is very important stuff. Well, it's not that important, but she rolls on him. And as she's rolling, the dude gets shot. So she grabs over the dead body at this point, and she's using him for cover. And then she stands up, and all this time, she's only getting shot at the body. And as you can see, her legs are exposed, her lower back is exposed, and she's carrying the guy as she's getting up. So it's a very slow movement. And by very slow movement, I mean very slow movement. You can very slowly follow it. And then she starts walking backwards, and and you can see she has the guy on her shoulders, and then the guy only shoots at her shoulders. So again, if this guy would have just aimed lower, maybe her legs, maybe her lower back, something, she'd be dead. But whatever. Dude's an idiot, and he's only shooting at his own friend. Fine, whatever. Then she reaches the table and just throws the guy at him. All right, okay, sure, fine. Next, Cara Dune's just kind of standing there, looking around, seeing like, okay, what did I do? And a dude comes from behind her with a knife and misses. Now, I need you to see this again, because this is like 1 second to the other. She's clearly not seeing anything. She doesn't notice anything going on behind her. The dude comes out, has her dead to rights. Like, the only thing he had to do was go like, like very easily, and dude misses. He slices and misses. It was very annoying, and of course Cara Dune takes him out with a boom, like almost a Rafiki type move, like wow wow bah, you know. Whatever, takes her down, and so you think fight's over, right? No, because you remember the dude with the red shirt that ducked earlier? Well, he got up, and now his face is all scarred up. Why is his face all scarred up? Why hasn't he been shooting this entire time? I have no fucking idea. But this dude, like, I need you to see his face right now. Burned. Like, his face is burned. Like, somebody got him and got him bad. Let's go back to, let's say, right here at this moment. His face is perfect. No scars, no whatsoever. And the last time that we saw that dude, he was ducking behind something. So at first I thought maybe we didn't see that, like, she shot the hot plate that's right next to him or something. But after you see him get up again and point the blaster at her, that thing is still here. So why is he all burned up? I don't know, but somebody massively fucked up here. This is a huge, massive fuck up. Like, they forgot he was there, or he forgot he was there and he forgot that he was supposed to be shooting, or he's a massive coward and he decided to burn his own face, or when he was ducking, he burned his own face because he's an idiot. I have no idea. But the point is, this is terrible, terrible choreography. And of course, now Cara Dune takes out her gun and basically kills the guy, because that's what you get when you're an idiot. Anyway, then we see her collect money which is a really bizarre scene because they want to make her friendly with like a meerkat ferret type of animal, which is fine. But this scene of her just collecting stuff from a table lasts like a minute, which is an eternity in film. It's an eternity, and I guess it was supposed to be funny. I don't know, or cute, but whatever. Point is, I hated this scene from beginning to end. I hated it. From her just rolling around the ground and not getting shot at by anybody, even though she only stabbed one guy, and the other guy deciding, I'm going to duck for cover, and then popping out with his face burned off, and the dude with the knife just completely missing her from the back when he had her dead to rights. It's annoying. It's annoying. They could have had a scene where Cara Dune takes out 5 dudes, and it could have been super badass, but they did it in the worst way possible. Anyway, let's continue. Next, we see Mando and the Racer Crest landing here in Navarro. They're received by Cara Dune, and well, now they call him the Magistrate, but I already told you his name's Grief Karga, but apparently now he's a Magistrate. Anyway, they land and they're received, and they're like, "Oh, hey, buddy, how you doing? Hey, let me see the kid," and all that stuff. They're very happy that they're there, and they decide that they're gonna help him fix the ship, and they send a couple of engineers to go deal with the ship. As they're walking away, one of the engineers looks at Mando. Now, the dude already looks shady as fuck, but they make a close-up of this guy looking at Mando, which, honestly, they could not have made it more obvious that this dude is a shady son of a bitch. Now, what exactly is he doing, or what is he not doing? I don't know, but honestly, let's just say, I've talked about this a lot. Subtlety is good. Subtlety would be a good thing. This is just way too obvious. It's blatantly obvious. Even if you don't know what's up with film, you should know, like, oh yeah, that dude's shady. You should just know it automatically, because you don't do a close up on a random background character like that. Anyway, so they go into town. Apparently Navarro's doing very well. There's a lot more people there than the last time. Apparently there's a lot of business going on, and they even have a school. So since the Magistrate and Cara Dune, they want to have a conversation with Mando and talk some business, they decide, oh, we'll just leave the kid here at school. And Mando starts being kind of a helicopter mom, and he's like, no, but where I go, he goes. And the dudes are like, chill, it's a school, he'll be fine, he'll be safe here, don't worry about it, we'll talk adult business. And so they leave the kid at school, and they decide to go off for an adult meeting. Now, this scene is, again, it was supposed to be funny, but I need you to notice here, and I don't know if, I'm probably the psychopath here, but I noticed these things. This scene was eternally long. Like, for one little bit of comedy, I mean, one tiny little bit of comedy, this scene is over a minute long, and I'll tell you what happened. And also, I need this to see, very important. You see this kid that's right here next to Baby Yoda? There's a kid right next to him, right in the desk right next to him, and you can see the desk. There's nothing on it except like a computer device for school. Nothing else besides that computer. Imagine like an iPad for school. That's the only thing that's on his desk. Immediately, the next scene, we see the kid has like a bag of cookies. space cookies. They're actually real world cookies, but we're assuming they're space cookies because they're blue. And the kid's eating the cookies. So again, let's go back. Nothing on the desk. Next scene, there's a bag of cookies on the desk. So somebody's massively fucking up. They're fucking up either in editing or they're fucking up in props. The point is, this is clearly very unprofessional. But whatever. So Baby Yoda's looking at the kid eating the cookies, and the kid doesn't want to give him a cookie, and so Baby Yoda steals the cookies with the Force. That lasted over a minute. I think it was like 2 minutes for that little bit of comedy. It was forever. Like the close up on this kid's face, like they just looked at each other and he looked somewhere else, and then he looked somewhere else, and then Baby Yoda was like, yeah. And then he was like, no. And it lasted a fucking eternity for just what was a cheap little joke. I don't get it, but whatever. There was a lot of time that they wanted to kill on this episode, and it felt really, really brutally long. But whatever. Let's move on. Next, here we have the Retune of Mithril, and honestly, I'm not gonna remember his name, Mithril. So I'm just gonna call him the weird fish guy because that's what he looks like. He's a weird fish guy. And so the weird fish guy, we get reintroduced to him. Apparently, he's been working for the magistrate there, and that's the way he's paying off his debt. And or working out his sentence. So apparently this dude's a slave. So Navarro has slave labor, or he's paying out his debts to society, or indentured servant, which is another word for slave. So there you go. Now we know that we're in a slave planet. But anyway, so they start talking business, and basically they say, you see this green spot on the map here? This is safe. However, you see this red spot here? Apparently, the Empire still has a base here, and we want to destroy it. Why? Because if we get rid of this particular Empire base, then that means that the Empire doesn't have foothold here, and we will be safe and prosperous, and we will make more money. And so Mando's like, all right, fine, let's go. I'll help you guys out. I got nothing better to do. I mean, they had to twist his arm a little bit, whatever. So they get on a speeder, and they take Weird Fish Guy, and they're driving all the way up to the base, where they're gonna basically overload the reactor and make it explode. So they're going to overload the base's reactor to blow it up. That's their plan. They're gonna overload the reactor. Super simple stuff, very basic, but whatever. So they arrive at the base, and they walk up straight up to the front door, and it turns out that this base actually has like it's 2 levels. Like it's on the side of a cliff, and all the way at the bottom of the cliff is where a river of lava should be flowing. But I guess it's a particular time of the day, and this particular time of the day, there's no real lava lake. So they drive up to a door that's there, and so they try to open the door, but they're like, oh man, I can't open it. I can't open this because the thing melted. And they're like, oh man, Imperial trash. And all right, I guess. I mean, I don't understand why this base would have an exit to where there's going to be a lava river, but whatever. That's just whatever, doesn't matter. So Mando decides, all right, I'm just gonna fly over there and I'm gonna open the door. And so he opens the door, sends this elevator out, and it's relevant why I'm mentioning this particular elevator. Okay, it'll make sense a little bit. So they come off the elevator, and Mando's like, this is more than just, like a skeleton crew. There's actually people here. And because he's killed a few people. And they decide to infiltrate the base. And the fish guy notices kind of like a tank thing. And he points it out, and he says, this is really cool, blah, blah, which is a foreshadowing that they're going to get into that fucking tank, or that tank is going to be in play at one point, which is, again, annoying, but whatever. And they start going through the base. Now, the first thing that we see of this base is that there's actually a security room, and you see that this dude in the control center, he's going through the cameras like, why is this camera off? This is weird. And all of a sudden, Kara comes out from behind him and chokes him out and kills him. So, why had he not seen him in any of the cameras before? I mean, it's a pretty big base. I'm pretty sure they didn't know the schematics of the base. So, how did they get all the way to the command center and nobody saw them in any camera? Really? Nothing. Like how shitty is the security in this place? Honestly, what they're doing to the Empire of just treating them like idiots is very annoying for this show. But whatever. Next, they're exploring the base. They find where the reactor is with no security. By the way, it's the easiest thing in the world. And they send the fish guy to turn it off because honestly, I don't know why the fish guy is here. Like I don't know why they brought the fish guy. He doesn't have any particular set of skills that was useful. And he's kind of a clown. Like, he's kind of a clown. He's annoying. He's a bit too ridiculous. And the banter that he has with basically he was there to be yelled at by the magistrate the whole time, by Grief Karga. I guess it's supposed to be funny, but whatever. It just annoyed me. So he very easily sets up the overloads the reactor, and things are going to go boom, right? Very easily, like it's nothing. Like, you'd think they'd have a few security measures here, but no. They're like, fuck it. If anybody gets here, they could very easily blow our entire base up. Like, I'm assuming it's kind of an expensive base, but very easily they can just get in there and explode it, but whatever. Next, as they're trying to run the hell out of there because they have like 10 minutes to get out of the base, they encounter this weird room where these two dudes, apparently scientists or look to be like scientists or at least engineers or workers there, they're trying to purge the drives of the computers. They're trying to like purge the system. Now, I don't know if these guys know that if the base explodes, the drives will kind of be purged by themselves. Like, maybe they've never heard of that. Maybe they don't know that explosions will destroy all that data. But, all right, maybe it's their first day. Maybe it's their first day around computers, but whatever. Or maybe, these are space computers. They're different. Whatever. And so they start a gunfight, and one of the dudes decides, you know what, I'm just going to shoot this thing. So he shoots the control thing after they try to delete the data and all the drives. All right. And so after they kill those guys, they start looking around the room, and they see kind of like water tanks, and there's like humanoid type beings in there. Now, it's not clear what they are, but it kind of looks, I mean, if you look hard enough, it looks kind of like Palpatine. So this may be an allusion to if you guys, spoiler alert, I guess, if you've seen the Rise of Skywalker, you know that Palpatine returns because he was cloned. And so it's possible that this is a Palpatine clone, or there was an attempt at a Palpatine clone. It's not sure yet. It's just speculation, and so I'll leave it at that. So they started going through the drives. The drives of the computer, they just got shot, and supposedly they were trying to purge, but whatever. Fish Guy apparently is a computer genius and very easily found a message, and here's the message that we find from Dr. Pershing, the scientist guy that I already mentioned who he was. So there's a message, and it's a message to Moff Gideon. So, first off, important because apparently these dudes did not know that Moff Gideon survived his crash. I mean, you would think that they would have gone to check the crash of the guy who, is trying to kill him, but they didn't. This is why you double tap. But whatever. So they find out that, first off, Moff Gideon is alive. Second, they kind of have a hint at what Moff Gideon's plans are. Basically, I'm gonna read you some of this, and basically this guy says that the M count from the donor, they're not likely to find donors with a higher M count, and that the bodies were rejecting the blood. Now, M count is probably an allusion to midichlorian, and they're probably saying that the child had high midichlorian count because Yoda had a high midichlorian count in his midichlorian count in his blood. So probably what they're trying to say is that they're trying to use Baby Yoda's blood to make force sensitive beings. At least that's what you can. It's not a guaranteed thing, but it's kind of what is hinted at, I guess, a little bit. And this guy also mentioned that he needs the child because they need more of his blood, basically. Since he couldn't get enough blood from Baby Yoda the first time, so they need more Baby Yoda blood. So there you go, and that's the message to Moff Gideon. And so immediately Mando is like, wait, if Moff Gideon's still alive, then I need to go get the child because he's in danger, especially here in Navarro. So that's when Stormtroopers show up and, a gunfight ensues. And this is, again, one of the things that annoy me is how stupid the Empire has become. Like, these dudes, they aren't even trying to take cover. And you know what the ridiculous thing is? Like, the truly incredibly ridiculous thing here is that within the shot, you can see that the heroes are taking cover. So the heroes go and take for cover because they're not total idiots. And the Empire's just standing there like idiots with dicks in their hands, just waiting to get killed. It's so ridiculous that, look at them. Like, cover. And these two dudes just standing there like, all right, I guess I'll die today. I don't get it. Like, it's so ridiculous that even the fish dude who is not even aiming and who is a clown. Like, this dude is a clown. And he's not even trying to aim. He manages to kill Stormtroopers in this particular episode. It's ridiculous. It's a joke. The Empire is a joke. It's ridiculous. Honestly, it's embarrassing. let's move on. So Mando decides, I'm gonna head out with my jetpack so I can get to the kid faster. You guys run out of here and save your own skins. And the other dudes are like, okay. So Mando gets on his jetpack, and here actually an interesting thing happens. A couple of stormtroopers arrive at the reactor, and they go and try to start touching stuff. Don't worry, guys. This leads to nothing. So the stormtroopers got there, and they did nothing. So you would think it's super easy to make this thing explode. You'd think it'd be like super easy to fix it back, but no, they did nothing. They basically made it there before the thing exploded and then did nothing. Seriously, stormtroopers are beyond idiots and useless in this show. It's very annoying. It's very annoying to me. It's a particular pet peeve that I've had, and I've talked about it a million times. The way that you make a hero cool or better is you make them go up. You don't lower the villain, you raise the hero. The hero has to be on par with the villain. If you put him up against a bunch of idiots, then the heroes look like a bunch of anybody can look like a badass facing an idiot or a useless a-hole. I'll save it. Anyway, so the rest of the crew, they go back to the hangar, the original hangar, and as they're about to get back to the elevator where they originally came in from, a trio of stormtroopers come out of it. Now, this is why that particular elevator was important. You guys remember where it led to, right? That elevator led to to a lava field. I was gonna say frozen over lava field, but let's just say cool down lava pit. And we also know that door could not be open unless unless the elevator was set from up top. We know these things. Why? Because we saw them 10 minutes ago. We saw Mando trying to open the door. It did not work. And so he had to use his jetpack to go up top and send the elevator down. Those are facts that we know about that elevator. And now, 3 stormtroopers come out of it, which means one of two things. These stormtroopers were already down there. They were down there in the lava pits. They were walking. They were strolling around a freaking lava pit or a lava river or whatever. I don't remember how they call it. And then they showed up at the door, fixed it, even though it had melted. The controllers had already melted because we know that for a fact. They fixed it, and then they went up at the exact same time that these dudes were planning to come down, which is ridiculous. Or they were planning an ambush for when they tried to escape, which would be a little bit more plausible. However, if you see this is a big-ass hangar, and there's a tank back there, and there's a whole bunch of really fun stuff here to take cover from, and you kind of know that they're heading to you. So if you had half a brain, wouldn't you hide somewhere here to make an ambush instead of waiting for them to come into the freaking elevator, like where you're going to be all in a tight space where you can't really do much and you're the one that's pinned down? Wouldn't you do that instead of giving them all the open space? Wouldn't you take control of the room? It's beyond frustrating how little sense this episode makes in terms of that stuff. It really annoyed me. Anyway, so the predictable stuff happens. Two of the stormtroopers, one actually takes cover, which is the only smart stormtrooper that I've seen in the show so far. And honestly, I think this dude survives. I think he's still alive. I'm rooting for this guy, man. I'm rooting for this dude to survive because he at least tried to take cover, man. And then there's the other dude who somewhat takes cover, and then there's the idiot who decides to, you know what? Let's get out. Just the third guy just kind of ran out and they killed him. But in the meantime, Kara decides, you know what? We can't just stay here, and she obviously decides to run to the tank that was right there, right? And then she gets on the tank. Then the rest of the crew gets on the tank, and they basically fly out of there. Again, the dude taking cover was still there. I think he survived. I'm hoping he survived. I'm hoping against hope that the dude survived, but whatever. At least they didn't kill him with the tank. So the tank jumps off the fucking cliff and lands on the old speeder. And here's the key. Here's actually something very important. You know how I told you that the stormtroopers were probably traveling around? If they had some kind of vehicle, okay. There's no other vehicles here other than the speeder that they came in from, which means that a group of stormtroopers went down on a stroll in this area, or that they decided to go into the elevator to set up an ambush. It makes no sense. Honestly, my head hurts. My head hurts because all of these things could have been easily fixed. Only thing that required is somebody with half a brain to choreograph this stuff. It's anybody who has any amount of spatial awareness, and some of this stuff could have been prepped. They could have prepared this. It annoys me. It annoys me because these people get paid a lot of money. But whatever. Let's move on. Next, they get a bunch of scout troopers come out with their speeders and they start chasing after him. And immediately, as the chase begins, a couple of scout troopers crash and they destroy each other. Again, the Empire are a bunch of idiots. It's embarrassing. But let's continue. Honestly, the chase here, you can see here kind of like the lava fields and stuff. It was meant to be kind of like a dried up lava field or whatever. Doesn't matter. It's like a lava river. And it's honestly a pretty fun chase. There's a couple of shenanigans that go on here, but visually it looks very impressive. I'll give you that. Visually, it's very impressive. The effects are really cool. So, all right, you can forget it. And then at one point, there's a couple of, starfighter. Well, there's 4 starfighters that get into the fight. As the base explodes, starfighters get the F out of there. And so they start chasing down the tank thingy. So, like I said, it's a pretty interesting chase scene, and it culminates with them reaching an open field, and one of the starfighters being taken out. Well, the tank takes out one of the starfighters, and then in a surprise attack, the Razor Crest takes out another, and with Mando piloting it, I'm guessing it's been fixed already. And then a dogfight in space. Well, not in space, in the air takes place. Which it looked good, and it's possible that Mando is a kick-ass fighter, but usually a 2-on-1 fight, these are 2 space fighters. Like, these ships are designed for fighting. The Razor Crest is not designed for it, but if Mando's a good enough pilot, okay. Again, 2-on-1 is not a good idea, but right, whatever. Anyway, Baby Yoda's having fun with his cookies there, and he's having a good time, and Mando wins, basically. He wins the dogfight. He takes out both the starfighters. Says later to the crew on the ground, he's like, all right, I helped you guys. Thanks for fixing my ship. Deuces. And the magistrate, Grief Karga, and Cara Dune is like, all right, later. Take care of yourself. Good luck finding the Jedi. So that leads us to the next scene, which is a couple of New Republic X-Wings have arrived in Navarro, and here is where we have the return of Captain. I forget his name. I wrote it down. I knew I was gonna forget his name, so I wrote it down here. Where is it? Where is your name? Damn it, you stupid bastard. Captain Carson Teva. So Carson Teva shows up and he's trying to get kind of like a report of the situation. And Grief Karga basically says, the Racer Crest was never here. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, all right, so fine. It's really weird why the New Republic is out there. Honestly, it makes no sense. They have no jurisdiction. It's not clear what they were investigating, but afterwards, Carson Teva starts talking to Cara Dune, and he's basically trying to recruit her into their team. And he's like, hey, weird stuff is happening in the Outer Rims. There's a lot of Empire activity out here. It's weird. So if you want to join us, that'd be cool. Then he asks her about, well, she's from Alderaan, and she's like, yeah, I'm from Alderaan, and asks her the stupidest question. All right, if you guys don't remember, Alderaan is the planet that Princess Leia used to be a princess of, and that Darth Vader with the Death Star and Grand Moff Tarkin destroyed with the Death Star in Episode 4. I said Episode 1, but it's Episode 4. So the planet has been completely destroyed. It's the first planet that we see completely get destroyed by the Death Star, all right? It was kind of like a test to see the station's operation ability and power. So no, I don't remember how he said it. Anyway, so he asked her, you were from Alderaan, right? Did you lose anybody? Which is the dumbest question you could ask anybody. Like, imagine your hometown gets destroyed completely. It's like, did you lose anybody? Fuck yeah. And her answer is basically like, yeah, everyone. Duh. It's like, fucking duh. It's literally everybody you ever knew your entire life that lived on that planet. Yeah, they're dead. So it's a dumb question, but whatever. He gives her a badge and he's like, if you change your mind, here's where we're going to be. And so we'd really like you to join us, whatever. And so it's unclear whether or not she picks up the badge or just leaves it there, but fine. Next, we see this officer from the Empire who's talking to or getting a communication from the engineer dude that I told you looked very shady because he looked very, very suspicious. We had a very suspicious close-up of him, who basically confirms that they put a tracking beacon on the Razor Crest. And so this officer says, good job. and he goes over to his superior, and that's where we see Moff Gideon now wearing a different kind of like Vader-like armor. And she says, all right, we put a tracking beacon on the Razor Crest. And he's like, all right, does he still have the asset? Yes, still has the asset. He's like, all right, cool. Now we have to wait. And the last thing that we see is the room that Moff Gideon is in is filled with a whole bunch of, let's say, dark mechanized suits. Now, these look a lot like Dark Troopers, and I'll get to that in a minute. But that's kind of pretty much how it ends. There's a pan out. Well, there's a whiteout, and yeah, I think it's a pan out. And so the camera pulls out, and we see this big room filled with all these dark soldiers, exoskeletons, mechanized robots. I don't know, but it looks like there's an army that's being made. So that is how the episode ends. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed the summary. Hopefully it was helpful. And now we can move on to the good, the bad, and the Mandalorian.
I like those odds.
All right, so the good, the bad, and the Mandalorian, basically, I break down three things. In the good, I break down what I liked from the episode. In the bad, I break down what I didn't like. And in the Mandalorian, I'll give you a fun fact about the Star Wars universe. So let's begin with the good. I like the whole thing with the Dark Troopers here, which I will break down in the Mandalorian, a little bit more fun fact. But I like that there's, finally it looks like the Empire is somewhat competent. It has at least a plan, because honestly, there were a lot of really embarrassing things for the Empire in this episode. But it looks like, all right, at least Moff Gideon has some kind of a plan, and we're going to have some worthy enemies in the future. I like the chase scene. Like I said, the effects were really good. It was very visually pleasing and all that stuff. I like again, it sounds like they're tying up a few of the plans for the Empire. It's good. Any good show, or any show in order to be good, you need a good antagonist, or you need a good villain. And here it looks like the villains actually kind of have a plan. Now, whether the plan is to make force-sensitive type soldiers, kind of like the Purge troopers, or to hunt down Jedi and stuff like that, or they're trying to use Baby Yoda to clone Palpatine. It's unclear, but it shows that there's a bigger plan going on, which honestly was desperately needed so far, because this show's been very confusing and it's been very vague on which direction it wanted to go. Next, I like the kind of like the throwback to episode 4 with we put a tracker beacon on them. That's a complete. The Empire actually did that in episode 4 with the Millennium Falcon. It's actually the reason why they let the Millennium Falcon go the first time that they escaped from it. So I like the little throwback there. It's like a head nod towards like, yeah, we remember you, old school fans. And I like that that it looks like Captain Carson here is trying to assemble something to fight the Empire. So I mentioned this on the previous episode that I like that it looks like it's going to be kind of a 3-way fight. And so it looks like the New Republic will be a part of this. It looks like the Mandalorians will be a part of this, and it looks like the Empire is going to be a part of this. So it's a build up to a clash between 3 clans, I guess. Now, 2 of them are probably going to be on the same side, and afterwards I think it's going to lead to issues. But it's building up to something, and I like build-ups. All right, I don't mind a slow build-up. It all depends on the payoff. So, all right, we'll see. Let's move on to the bad. In the bad, there was a lot of bad in this episode. Starting with the terrible choreography that I already told you about. I'm not going to go back to that one again. It's ridiculous, because the dude that hid and he had his face burned, somebody had to do that. Somebody had to put makeup on. Somebody had to put the other makeup. That takes planning. That takes money. That takes writing down the story. It makes no sense to me how that could have happened. How somebody could have fucked up that badly. But all right. Okay. It annoys me that Mando is becoming kind of a helicopter mom with Baby Yoda. I get it. Listen, I get it. I get that the child is in danger. I get that he's being pursued. I understand that. But come on, man. It's too much. You won't even leave him at school. We all know that mom, the kind of overprotective mom. It gets a little weird. it gets a little weird. Sometimes he needs to let go a little, and it annoys me because it's the kid is clearly Mando's greatest weakness, and it's annoying when there's such a glaring weakness. It's so obvious, it's annoying. Then there was the weird comedy thing here that made no sense, that took forever. But the worst thing is the Empire. Honestly, the worst thing about this episode is how they made the Empire just be a bunch of idiots. They don't take cover. They don't protect their own base. They don't have like a strategy or a plan. They didn't even set off the alarm when somebody broke in. Like they did nothing. It's very annoying. It's very ridiculous, and it sucks. Like they couldn't even protect their own security room. They couldn't even ride their own speeders without crashing into each other and dying. They couldn't plan like an ambush. They couldn't do anything. Like even the fish dude killed the Stormtrooper. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And I've already said this before. If you're a hero needs to rise up to the level of their villains, and if the villain is all the way down to the dirt, it's embarrassing. It's honest. It's not fun. It's not dangerous. You always know they're gonna come out safe, or they're gonna be killed by bullshit. It's stupid. It really infuriates me. But that's it for the bad. Let's move on to, and honestly, this is something that's been throughout the show. Like it's terrible choreography, and the use of the villain has just been really, really bad. At least for the grunts, the use of it's been really, really bad. So with that, let's move on to the Mandalorian. So, fun fact for this episode, let's talk about the Dark Trooper. Now, the only reason why I'm venturing to call these dudes Dark Troopers, it's because I did some digging, and apparently in the description, because there's a description for people who are visually impaired, and in the narration, they say that the camera pans out, and you see a row of inactive Dark Troopers. So, at least according to that, it's confirmed that these are Dark Troopers. So, let's answer the question. Who are the Dark Troopers? Now, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the regular Stormtroopers. You're familiar with the Scout Troopers. But there's a whole bunch of other troopers. Now, some of them could fit this particular narrative, and those would be the Death Troopers, which are basically elite troopers, elite Stormtroopers, or they could be the Purge Troopers. Now, I believe the Death Troopers, you might remember them from Star Wars Rogue One, and the Purge Troopers, if you played Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, you might remember the Purge Troopers. Now, from what I've seen, like I said, these are the Dark Troopers. So the difference between all these dudes is that Death Troopers are humans, they're elite humans. The Purge Troopers are former clones, so they used to be clones. You remember the Clone Troopers? So they used to be clones, so they're elite fighters, and they're force sensitive, or at least some of them. That's what I have understood, and I don't think I'm mistaken. And the Dark Troopers are actually robots, so they're droids. So they're very similar to the super droids in what's it called in from the Separatist Army, from episode 1 through 2 or 3. So they're completely robotic. Now, originally, I guess these are from the expanded universe, by the way. Originally, I guess they were cyborgs, but they retconned that and they made them just be complete droids. Now, they come in 3 phases, and I know the difference between all 3 phases because I have them written down right here. So there's phase 1 back here, phase 2, and phase 3. Now, if you want to look at them a little bit more clearly, I found some toys, and so this is how they would look like. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. All right? And here's the difference. So phase 1 is a sentry-like trooper that comes equipped with a vibro sword, which would be this one. And the vibro sword is very similar to the knife that Mando has. Basically the thing that if I get you, you're dead. Like that thing took down the Rhyhorn. Well, it's not a Rhyhorn. It's a Mudhorn. Took down the Mudhorn with one shot. So imagine a sword of that. So dangerous dude. Phase 2 is more in line with the super battle droids from the Separatist Army, and it basically has sturdier armor, assault cannons, and a jetpack, so it flies. And phase 3, it took everything that worked for phase 2 and made it better. So it made it bigger. So it's larger. It comes with an indestructible armor. They also have additional weaponry that enables them to penetrate virtually any defense system. So bigger, better version of phase 2. So there you go. That's who the Dark Troopers are. It looks like this is a row of Dark Troopers. It could be something else, but if you look at them right here, I guess it could be a phase 2, but it looks like it's a phase 3. And the only way that it could actually make this thing scary is if they're phase 3. Like imagine like an indestructible tank that humanoid tank or Terminator coming at you. So, I mean, it just has to be. That's my guess. Otherwise, I don't think anything else would be even remotely as scary as a Phase 3. And they needed, because again, the Empire is just a whole bunch of idiots at this point. So, there you go. That's the good, the bad, and the Mandalorian for you. And my head hurts. Apparently, I was annoyed. Let's say this episode annoyed me. So, that's it for today. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. Live streaming on YouTube and on Twitch at Super Dario World. Or if you just want to see this video later because it helps you, following the visuals and all that stuff and actually having a clear image of what the hell I'm talking about, you can find all these videos on YouTube eventually. It loads by itself because I did the live stream, but it'll be up there pretty soon. So again, it's at Super Dario World on YouTube. So as always, that's it for today. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next time.